Thanks so much for coming back to What the Heck is Happening in HR. Phillip Wilson joins us today, and he's a thought leader in approachable leadership and the author of the Leader Shift Playbook, published April 1st. He has dedicated his career to helping organizations build extraordinary workplaces where teams feel engaged, empowered, and ready to deliver results. As president of LRI Consulting Services and Approachable Leadership, Phil has spent years helping companies build extraordinary workplaces that engage teams and reduce turnover. He's written 7 impactful books on leadership and management, including Left of Boom, The Approachability Playbook, 3 Essential Habits for Thriving Leaders and Teams, and his upcoming release, I've already mentioned, The Leader Shift Playbook. 4 simple changes to score big by unleashing your team's potential. He is a sought-after speaker for keynotes on leadership, employee retention, labor relations, and more, and we welcome him to What the Heck is Happening in HR. For our podcast disclaimer, please visit the episode description. Thanks so much for coming back to What the Heck is Happening in HR. And today I'm happy to welcome Phil Wilson back. He's speaking to us about these 4 pillars in his brand new book, and we're really happy to have you back here to chat about them.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, so the Leader Shift Playbook has these 4 pillars. So let's talk about 2 of them. So the first one is about impact, and I think the second one's about yourself. Talk about those, please.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So the first one, the belief in your impact, the basic idea of that shift in mindset is that you are having an impact every day. And whether you think you are or you're not, like you are. And so I talk a little bit in this chapter. I talk about, so everyone knows the placebo effect, but most people don't know that there's an evil twin to the placebo effect, which is called the nocebo effect. So just like the placebo effect, if your doctor gives you the sugar pill and like, oh, it's going to, cure this ache or pain that you have, there's a bunch of people that if you give them the sugar pill, it actually cures whatever it is that's ailing them, because the mind body connection is we don't understand, but that it is a true fact. The nocebo effect, though, is the opposite. So like if I'm a doctor and I give you the sugar pill, and Kelly, I tell you that it's going to cause, it's got some side effects and you might experience some aches and pains that you haven't experienced before. A lot of people will experience those side effects, even though I just gave you sugar. And we as leaders are like that doctor, wherever, going around in our, with our team, and we can be focused more on the placebo effect, like, hey, positive things are going to happen today. Or we can be the nocebo effect leader, where we are kind of worrying a lot more about the potential side effects of things. And that behavior has an impact on your team. And Kelly, like the other kind of main thing I talk about in that chapter is, and I like to focus, I know you do too, on first level leaders. Like they are absolutely the most important sort of, link in the chain in any organization. Our last episode, we talked about, just how critical first level leaders are. But first level leaders, their jobs are so hard. They're under a lot of pressure. They're asked, I mean, today more than ever, asked to do so much more with so less, that it's really, really challenging. And they often feel powerless. And so one of the messages in the chapter is, if you are a first level leader, it's easy to talk yourself into this mindset of, what I do doesn't really matter that much. I'm not having that big of an impact. I don't really have a lot of power to sort of change things or fix things, or, I'm powerless. And that mindset is a nocebo effect mindset, when the reality is, as a first level leader, you are the critical relationship in the culture of your company. Yeah. And your relationships with your team are what define the culture. And so it's really important for folks to kind of have that mindset.
So impact, and then the focus on yourself.
Yeah. The second shift is your belief in yourself. And this is kind of pivoting off of what we just were talking about. Like, if it's because it is so easy to talk yourself into, I'm not really that important, I'm not really that powerful. One of the things that you have to do is really focus in first on, I do have the ability to do this. I have the ability to change. I have the ability to sort of move past whatever, nocebo effect assumptions I've made about myself, and to flip those. And so this chapter, I also talk about kind of overcoming biases that we all
Mm-hmm.
have, and making sure that we are, really kind of kicking the tires around. Is my belief in my team based on reality, or is it just, or is it based on assumptions that I'm bringing to the table? And then, belief that you have the ability to change that. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of a lot of leaders are like, look, I am the way that I am. I'm not going to learn new tricks, and then they can get stuck. And so the other part that I'm trying to get apart in this shift is that, look, you have the ability to change. Like, these changes aren't changing your personality. These are really simple behavior shifts that um, that will impact all the conversations that you have. It'll impact the way that you behave with your team. So you have the power to do it. Then it's just a question of, are you going to like make the step to do it?
Right. It's so important. I think as I was reading your book, there were two things that brought stories to my mind. One was that when I would prepare for board meetings,
Mm-hmm.
I would get super intense, super focused. And I thought it was just me internally, but people would tell me they didn't want to approach me, which is why I loved your approachability
Mm-hmm.
business, is because I had this focused look.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize it. So it is, even if I looked in the mirror, I wouldn't have seen it. So that feedback
Mm-hmm.
is so important for us to get better. And I had an employee one time say to me while we were talking about her review, she said, "Kelly, you see where we can be, and we don't even know that land exists.
Mm-hmm.
Help me understand why these assignments you are giving me lead
Mm-hmm.
me to where you see I can grow." Again, I
Yeah.
thought it's so clear to me. This is your potential. This is where you can be. This is where you can
Mm-hmm.
grow. Yet I was doing them a disservice because I didn't connect those dots at all.
Yeah.
And I think when I became a better leader was when I became a better listener
Mm-hmm.
and didn't listen
Yeah.
to respond, but listen to
Mm.
understand. And I think for me, that was a huge item. And when I could take that feedback and then do something with it, really helped me go back to believing in myself because then I was doing something by honoring their feedback.
Yeah, so good. We teach in our workshop this model called stop, listen, confirm,
Mm.
and it's kind of like a little magic trick to force people that are basically fix it people. So I'm sure you were one of these folks
Absolutely.
too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like, look, you're not going to advance in a company if you're not great at
Right.
solving problems. So the problem with good problem solvers is every conversation is like a problem for them to solve, and you basically stop listening. Like, as soon as you figure out, oh, I've solved this, then you're just kind of listening for them to take a breath so you can like prove how smart you are. So um, the trick is to give your brain a different problem to solve. And the way that we do that, it's this what we call the confirm statement. But the confirm statement is simple. It's, you feel blank, or you can also, if you don't like to use the word feelings, you can say, you sound blank because of blank. Do I have that right? And so the trick is, you're not allowed to say anything else to that person once you have sort of unraveled whatever the issue is that they're bringing to you.
Mhm.
And you're going to do that by asking them questions. And the funny thing is, if you're trying to figure out the emotion, it triggers a whole separate part of your brain, and like you'll start stalling because you're not really 100% sure what the emotion is. And so you're going to actually ask great questions and try to get to the bottom of like, okay, what's really happening here emotionally? And then, then you make the statement, you sound blank because of blank. Do I have that right? And that statement alone proves that you listened. And by the way, you actually did listen. And there's many times, Kelly, you know this. A lot of times your teammate comes to you with an issue or a concern. They don't want you to solve it.
Right.
They're not looking for a solution. They're looking for someone to listen to them. And then as soon as they finish the story, and you're like, oh, you sound aggravated because of the way the scheduling is working. And they're like, yeah, I mean, I know it's part of the job and it's not that bad. But I just wanted to talk to somebody about it. And then like you're done, and you didn't, you know, implement some like super smart solution that's going to cause like 5 other problems because you knee jerked it. And organizationally, it's just a much better place to be listening, to connect, versus just going out trying to solve things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look forward to our next podcast to chat about the last 2 of the pillars, because at least this will give us a little time to try to implement these first 2.
Mhm.
Phillip, thanks so much for being on with us today on What the Heck is Happening in HR.
Thanks, Kelly.